In theory, every game of professional darts should feature at least 2 handshakes or fist bumps between the players. There should always be one at the start and one at the end. In matches that go the distance, there should also be a third, as players often shake hands before a sudden death leg or deciding set. Some players will also offer a handshake or fist bump in respect to their opponent if their rival hits a big finish or a 9-darter. However, when there are incidents in games or when players get angry at their opponent, they may refuse to give a handshake, showing that they have temporarily lost respect for their rival. Today, we will be looking at times where handshakes and fist bumps have not occurred, either before, during, or after matches. Of course, we're not going to be talking about matches that took place during the coronavirus pandemic, as players then were exempt from shaking hands. Before we begin, I've got a microphone now, so please make sure to subscribe and like, as less than 2% of my watch time currently comes from subscribers, and your support would really help the channel out. In the early stages of their careers, Dutch players Michael van Gerwen and Jelle Klaasen were very good friends. They even appeared together in a cringy segment shown ahead of the 2006 International Darts Open. However, this all changed in 2012, when Klaasen was accused of sending explicit photo messages to a 15-year-old family friend of van Gerwen. Later in that year, Klaasen was given a fine and ordered to do some community service. Their first televised meeting after this incident happened in the quarter-finals of the 2013 European Championships. MVG blanked Klaasen ahead of the game and there was no handshake. Van Gerwen eventually won the game 10-7 and celebrated right in the face of Klaasen, who clapped at him looking sarcastic. There was no handshake after the game either. They have played several times since, but have not shook hands again. In a 2016 Eurotour game, they were packing away their darts literally in front of each other, but they refused to even acknowledge each other. In this same year, Klaasen was the second highest ranked Dutch player, and therefore should have been selected to play in the World Cup alongside Van Gerwen. However, ahead of the event, Klaasen's management team released a statement saying that he was unfortunately unavailable for selection for the World Cup due to personal commitments. The Dutchman admitted that he was disappointed, and many fans felt that Van Gerwen had forced the PDC not to select Klaasen, as it would have clearly caused an issue. A high-profile meeting between the pair came at the 2020 PDC World Championship. They once again ignored each other. After this game, Van Gerwen spoke publicly about his hate of Klaasen in an interview.
Me, Jelle, of course, we had a past, and so I quite hate him, so I don't want to lose to him, and that made it really difficult for me in this game. And of course, you want to do better, but it was tough today. So of course, I put extra pressure on me because he's probably one of the most unlikely. Yeah, I don't really like him, simple, and that's why I put more pressure on myself.
Their most recent meeting came on the Eurotour in 2022, and they continue to blank one another. The 2022 PDC Europe Super League was a German qualifying event for the 2023 PDC World Championship. Florian Hempel, a tour card holder who made his World Championship debut in the 2022 edition, reached the final of the event, as did Nico Springer, who does not have a tour card and has never played in a World Championship. This was a big game, as a win for Hempel would make it far easier for him to hold his tour card, and a win for Springer would give him his Ali Pali debut. The match took place in a small room with a small crowd, which meant that every small sound could be heard. The players shook hands before the game started, but throughout the game, both players got very annoyed at each other. In the fourth leg, Hempel was slow to take his darts out of the board. In the next leg, Springer over-celebrated a 140 and also accused Hempel of walking too close to him. Later on in the game, Hempel also got annoyed about the same thing. Hempel hit double 10 to win 10-8 and let out a huge celebration. The players did not shake hands initially, and Hempel walked to the other side of the room to continue his celebration. By the time that he returned to the stage, Springer had already left, and Hempel was confused as to why he was not offered a handshake. Springer did not even congratulate Hempel when they got backstage. Michael van Gerwen faced Danny Noppert in the first round of the 2021 World Grand Prix. During the first set of the game, Noppert felt that van Gerwen was trying to distract him by standing and stepping close to him at the jockey when he was throwing. Noppert won the game 2-0 with both sets going the full distance. There was no handshake after the game, with Noppert simply staring Van Gogh in the eyes. He had this to say after the game.
We have some troubles in the first set, and I say to him, "You're stepping on the floor when I'm on a double," and we make some words with each other after the first set. I didn't want this way. It's bad, but it was my feeling, and that's hard for him. He lose, but that's brilliant for me. I win, but I think you can say it. If he steps on the floor, he have more weight than me.
Van Gogh responded to this by tweeting saying that he would never use tactics on the Yoki, and Wayne Mardle backed him up.
Totally innocent, Michael. What can happen on these stages, they do get moved around quite a bit, and every now and again, you get a floorboard that can move and make a bit of a creak.
Van Gogh later said that the cheating accusations had really hurt him, and that Noppert had eventually apologised to him. The 2022 Belgian Darts Open was Niels Zonneveld's 5th European Tour appearance, but he had not had much success in these events before this tournament. He had only won a single game between his first 4 European Tour tournaments, with a victory on his Euro Tour debut back in 2019. On this occasion, he was beaten by Peter Wright in the second round, and coincidentally, when he got his second win on the tour at the 2022 Belgian Darts Open, he was drawn to face Wright again in the second round. The players did shake hands ahead of this game, and Wright gave Zonneveld a fist bump after the Dutchman took out 108 in the first leg of the tie. Throughout this game, whenever Zonneveld hit big shots, he celebrated excessively, which annoyed Wright as it delayed his visits. Wright hit double 12 in the 10th leg of the tie to send the match to a sudden death leg, at which point Zonneveld offered Wright a handshake, as the vast majority of players do before a deciding leg. However, Wright declined this offer and put up his hand to show that he was annoyed. This clearly annoyed Zonneveld, who stepped back and looked angry. However, he managed to hit double 9 and win the leg, and he let out a huge celebration. The pair did shake hands at the end, and after the game, Zonneveld said he didn't want to call it an incident, as after the match he talked it out with Peter, who said that he didn't give a fist bump as he did not want to be taken out of his game. However, Wright does normally give fist bumps before a sudden death leg, so he must have just been really annoyed by Zonneveld's over-the-top celebrations.